know what's in 2026? Reading the books that you already fucking own. My name is Miekela, this is Meekela Reads. I live here, and this is not only the third time I've now tried to film this video, but I've actually been just sitting here and talking at the camera for about 20 minutes before I realized that I wasn't actually filming. So, hi, welcome to this unhinged video today. In today's video, we will be going through all 100 plus books that I have sitting on my current physical TBR that I have not read. We are making this video today for two reasons. Reason number one, I have a challenge plan for 2026. And in the spirit of reading what we already fucking own, hopefully this will actually help with that. Remember how I mentioned that this is now the third time I'm trying to film this video? I originally filmed this in September of last year and then mostly edited said video and then just never finished editing it and then bought more books and then didn't actually do the challenge. So we're here, we are sitting here, you and I, because I need you to help me be accountable to this challenge, to this here attempt at reading my physical TBR. I will put the rules here for said challenge. I can make a more in-depth video version of it, but hopefully you will get the gist in future videos that I make. Feel free to pause at your leisure if you would like to read these in more detail. The second reason that I'm filming this today is because I need your help, not just to keep me accountable, but also I have a lot of these books on this TBR I have owned for a hot minute. As a result of that, I don't know if I'm necessarily wanting to keep reading or to keep, you know, trying and attempting to read all of these books if they're not actually worth it. So I'm gonna need your help. I will ask at various points throughout this video if this is a book that you feel like I should read and keep. And look, honestly, if you have any other opinions about it, just put them in anyway. Your opinions are always welcome here on this channel. Tell me if a book is not worth it, please, for the love of God. Much like the Biased Goodreads Choice Awards, this video today is going to be chopped up into segments of genre. We are going through these books in an order because my brain simply cannot function any other way. So we will be going through various different genres. Some of them don't make sense. They make sense to me, and that is all that matters. There's no particular order within the genres, they just are. So we have a lot of books here to talk about. I'm not going to be going into any great depth or detail about the synopses because otherwise we will be here forever and neither you nor I have time for that. Let's start with the fantasy genre because there is the most of them, and if we can get them out of the way, they will be less intimidating. First up, we have a classic, and it is The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I will most definitely be listening to the series rather than reading them because tiny pea brain does not have the space to actually sit down and physically read books this dense and this intense. This one's been on my list for at least 9 years now, and that isn't even the longest. We then have Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. This is the sequel to Legendborn. I have read Legendborn. It was a long time ago. I cannot remember Legendborn. So as per wheel rules, I will probably need to reread Legendborn to be able to read this, and thus Legendborn will be on the wheel as opposed to Bloodmarked. I also don't know where my copy is. I think I've lent it to someone at some point and they've not given it back to me. We then have the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, which consists of the 5th season, The Obelisk Gate, and The Stone Sky. I have heard really, really good things about this series. However, I read the other book by N.K. Jemisin, The City We Became, the one about like the New York boroughs that are people. I really didn't like it. I really, really didn't like it. So I've been really hesitant about this series. But like I said, I've heard nothing but great things. I picked this up at a secondhand bookshop. So that's on the list. Probably by far the most intimidating book on this entire TBR, which isn't what it used to be, by the way. It used to be this bind-up of the Old Kingdom Chronicles by Garth Nix, which is Sabriel, Lyriel, and Apporson. But it is now Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I did try to read this quite a few years ago now. I tried to buddy read it with my friend Kirsty. You can see the tabs. This was my attempt at annotating and actually trying to get through the book. Clearly we did not make it very far. And since then I have just been avoiding it and avoiding going back to it. I do want to read it. I want to read it so badly. I love Samantha Shannon's other series, but this one's it's so much. It's so dense. It's so complex and it scares me. Not only do I have that, but I also have the sequel, which I wasn't going to pick up until I finished the first one. However, I did find it at a little book library for free, and so I exchanged it for another book, and now we have it. So that's that. Moving on. We have The Gentleman Bastard sequence by Scott Lynch, which consists of The Lies of Locke Lamora, Red Seas Under Red Skies, and The Republic of Thieves. Fun fact, I actually purchased this book, The Lies of Locke Lamora, in my first booktube video that I ever made. It was like a book haul shopping trip situation. It is now on private. Fun origin of Meekela Reads facts. Next is A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. I read An Ember in the Ashes a long time ago, and to be completely honest with you, I think that if I didn't already own the second book, at the time of purchasing the first one, I actually may have just DNF'd the series. I didn't not like An Ember in the Ashes. It's just not gripped me enough to actually keep reading the series. And yeah, like I said, if I didn't have this, I probably would unhaul it. I may still not continue with the series. We shall see. I at least know that I can just listen to a podcast recapping An Ember in the Ashes instead of rereading it completely, because I know that they exist. And it was so helpful last time I listened to it that I intended to read this one. I have 2 of the Avatar: The Last Airbender lore books, which I'm excited to read. I want to know a lot more about the lore and the backstory of a lot of the Avatar: The Last Airbender characters and worlds, which will come up again a bit later in the video. But Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It is just peak cartoon cinema, cartoon art. Continuing with the theme of this being incredibly unhinged, we have the last 3 books in the Eragon series, but not Eragon itself. I thought I owned Eragon, clearly I don't. So thus none of these 3 are on the wheel as per the rules. When I get Eragon, it will go on the list. Stay. Okay. What do we have next? Magician by Raymond E. Feist, which I will put it on the record. I have tried to read this book before. I tried to listen to the audiobook, but the copy of the audiobook was all jumbled up and the chapters were all out of order, so I genuinely just couldn't listen to it and I was very upset. But it's still here and I do want to read it. It's just, yeah. I will listen to it at some point. I'll just have to actually buy the audiobook. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now, this is one of the ones that I need your help because I have watched the movie. I've seen the movie, I know what happens in the movie. I wasn't a super fan of it. Is it actually worth reading the book? Is it worth it? Or do I just go straight to Reaper of the Gates, which I don't own, but I could own it if it's worth it. We have 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. I'm gonna make a new pile because this is getting real teetery. Prophecy's Ruin, which is actually book 3 in this series by Sam Bowring. I read these when I was in high school. I might still have the first 2, I don't actually know, but thus also not on the list because 3rd book in series. I have the first 4 books in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, which is The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, Oathbringer, and Rhythm of War. This is one of those series that I know I will like. I know I will enjoy them, but they're just a commitment, and I have fantasy series commitment issues. I am missing the 5th one, the latest one, but I am really wanting to get a matching cover as opposed to the really common cover that's everywhere. I'm surprised I found these, to be honest. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor is another one of those ones that I'm actually not sure if I'm going to read, and I need your help to decide if it's worth it or not. I think I picked this up a very long time ago. It feels very 2016 peak booktube, which was 10 years ago. Is that how long I've been on the internet? How long have I been on YouTube? How long have I been doing this? My first upload says 9 years ago. We're almost at a decade. Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin. We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal, which I, again, have heard fantastic things about. I'm very excited to read and actually exercised a level of restraint by not buying the first 2 when I bought the first one, just in case I didn't like it. Another one I remain another 2 that I remain unsure about are The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi and Graceling by Kristen Kishore. Both of these, again, purchased a long time ago. This one I picked up just because I'd heard really good things, and at the time the new covers for it, which I like and are far superior to this. And The Gilded Wolves I purchased actually to do it was a star sign astrology reading vlog, which was reading books that Aries would read, because that's my star sign. Never did it. So, verdict, votes, what do we think for these 2? Help a gal out. The book that I reckon, end of high school, start of university Michaela was yearning for and didn't know that I needed was Wings of Starlight. This is, I believe, the romance / story of Queen Clarion? Yeah, Queen Clarion and the Winter Fairy romance, which, again, didn't know I needed it until it was written. 2012, 2013 Michaela is very happy with that one. Then we have the first 4 books bind up of the Earthsea series by Ursula K. Le Guin, a classic in the fantasy universe. And this technically counts as 4 books because this is the first 4 books in the series. And I believe the last fantasy book, just straight fantasy, on this list, and is actually a priority for 2026. 2025's priority is Robin Hobb. 2026's priority is the Discworld series. This is The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. Look how beautiful this cover is. I love it. It's got a little ribbon. It is all gilded. Can you imagine 40+ books all in this lovely style, just on a shelf, all by themselves? I'm so excited. This is 2026's priority, is trying to get through Discworld. I said, I'm scared of fantasy series. I have fantasy series commitment issues. And I believe that is all of the fantasy. It is a mess here. Tangenting slightly sideways, I have 3 books of this next category. This category is Dark Academia. Again, I've purchased the Dark Academia books to film a Dark Academia reading vlog. Never happened. We have The Atlas Six by Olivia Blake, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. Will she get there? Who knows? Is it a this year priority? Who knows? The only one I'm actually skeptical about reading is The Atlas Six, because it had its moment of hype way back when BookTok was just starting to hit its peak. It was like 2020-ish, right? These 2 I know I will read. It's just a matter of when, because look at the size of them. And then another slight sideways from there, genre-wise, we have sci-fi, which I have a few more than I thought, which is nice. I've got Time Siege and Time Salvager by Wesley Chu, Record of a Spaceborne Feud by Becky Chambers, which I'm genuinely so excited to read. This is one of those series that I keep like portioning for myself so that I don't read them all at once. They are just like a little warm hug for my heart. I love Becky Chambers so much. Their writing is amazing. This is the 3rd book in the Long Way to a Small Angry Planet series. And finally, we have Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, which I have tried to start reading twice now, and not from like not enjoying it and not liking it, just was never the right time. Have always been in a reading slump. It is just the way of the world the last couple of years. I think the last tiny category I have is classics, including Picture of Dorian Gray, and does it get more classic than the Odyssey? Yeah, I'm not a classic galley, but I did have my Epic the Musical phase. I bought this in peak Epic the Musical phase. I'm not still in it, but I'm just less in it than I was before. Okay, the next category we have is general fiction. And I've just put in here books that I'm pretty sure could technically cross over into fantasy, but I in my brain see them more as general fiction. And there is a thriller sprinkled in there. Oh, maybe 2 actually. The one that's possibly a thriller is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland, which I've had sitting and waiting for like a spooky, cozy vibe, but I just have never picked it up in spooky, cozy vibe season. That's still the intent, but I might get there before October. Who knows? If not, I have this one ready to go for October for a spooky, spooky season read. The other one that's definitely a thriller is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. We have The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating. This is by Elizabeth Tober Bailey. Picked it up a little while ago. It's a nice short one, but I've just not been in the mood for like, you know, your general fiction character studies recently. In the same vein, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour, which I bought this one actually when the Book Depository stopped existing, stopped selling books. I bought this in the final purchase from that website before it went under, and I cannot express to you how lovely the texture and how floppy this book is. Like, it is so nice. It is so beautiful. I'm so excited to read it just to be able to hold it while I read it. Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim is actually a book that I picked up from my local bookshop, and I think it's the first book in a really long time that I've picked up purely because it sounded interesting and not because I had heard anyone else read it and say it was good. And it took me back to a time, you know, in my childhood when I would do that weekly, before I had a TBR of 100 books. We have Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, another not quite classic, but classic. Oh, I have the fantasy puzzle book. I picked this up in the London airport when I was traveling maybe 2 years ago. And I bought this, no, it wasn't in the London airport, it was in Edinburgh. And I bought it because I was a bit tired of just reading at airports, and I needed to like use my brain in a bit of a less intense but different kind of way. So it's a story, it's a fantasy story, but you go through the story by like completing puzzles. So like word Sudokus and like different kinds of activities throughout the story, and it like makes it so that the story is interactive. But I thought that this would actually be a really fun one that like you and I could sit down and do together. Like we could do a whole video of like trying to get through the fantasy puzzle book and trying to figure it out. Maybe it could be a fun little thing for you and me to do. I have How Do You Live, and this is by Genzaburo Yoshino. I picked this up quite a few years ago now actually. This is the one that The Boy and the Heron by Ghibli is like loosely based on. I wanted to read it before that, but I never did, and so then still have not yet. But this book, Naked, like the cover of it is stunning. Like so beautiful, which makes me a little bit scared to physically read it. We'll see where this one ends up. The wheel may give it to us and we'll make a decision at that time what we're gonna do with it. We have Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon. This is by Mizuki Sujimura, who also wrote Lonely Castle in the Mirror, which was a fantastic book. I loved Lonely Castle in the Mirror, so I'm very excited to get to this one. I was meant to read this as a part of a book club, the Pages book club, at the end of last year in December, but I didn't quite do that because I was stuck. I was neck deep in the Robin Hobb series. I think I was in the last trilogy at that point, and I just nothing. I didn't even read my like in-person book club book in December because of that. I have Days at the Murasaki Bookshop. This is by Satoshi Yagasawa. I have been burned recently by Japanese translated fiction. I usually love Japanese translated fiction. I have read and loved the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. This is book 5, it's Before People Get Kindness, and I love those, but I did try to read a Japanese translated fiction recently and I just had to DNF it because I just did not like it. I could not get through it, and so I'm now terrified to pick up more Japanese translated fiction. Positively, I have heard good things about this one, and I think that there's a second one out now, so we'll see how we go. We'll see if my opinion can be changed, and if I can like challenge this block that I have. Another book I've had for a very long time is Burn by Patrick Ness. I always love a Patrick Ness. They're always like a weird, like mind-bending break from some books, honestly. They twist my brain in weird ways. I have Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and finally in the general fiction category, Notes on Execution. And this is by Danya Kukafka. Okay. Where are we up to? What do we have left? We have graphic novels left, we have romance, we have cozy fantasy, and we have romantasy. Let's start with non-fiction, because she's not a non-fiction galley at all. I have Hidden Valley Road. This is by Robert Kolker. This one I'm actually excited for because it kind of like crosses over as a bit of a workbook. It is a work interest area for me. And I did see a little while ago that this actually has a TV show, like documentary kind of thing, which I really, really want to watch. But I know that if I watch that, I won't read this and I want to read this. So I'll read this first and then I'll watch that. But then you watch when I go to watch that, it won't be on any of the streaming services anymore. That's usually how it goes. I have Devotions by Mary Oliver. She is not a poetry galley, she's not a non-fiction galley, but this I've heard is a really nice entry point into poetry. She's expanding her genre, she's expanding her knowledge base. But something that's definitely not expanding my knowledge base is the BTS book. I bought this when it came out. At the time I was pretty into BTS. I'm no longer as into BTS, but they are coming back. We shall see if I get, maybe we can read this as like a, you know, get pumped, get excited for BTS to come back. On the topic of work-related books, I have The Collected Schizophrenias. This is by Esme Weijin Wang. Another work-related purchase is The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work by John Gottman, the holy grail of a relationship self-help work purchase, but you know, could be self-help too. Who doesn't want to improve their relationship? And finally, for non-fiction, we have The Myth of Normal by Gabor Mate. Okay, let's go from one polar opposite of, you know, intellectual to the complete next. Let's do graphic novels and manga next. Kicking off the graphic novels, we have the next 2 books in the Lightfall series. I read the first one, I loved it, it was adorable. These are always really, really great for when I'm in a slump, or if you're in a slump, reading a graphic novel is a fantastic way because it like builds that motivation, it builds the achievement sense, and it just kickstarts the motor for reading again. And there's pictures and it's adorable. This series also has a really, really lovely depiction of what anxiety feels like, but in a visual way, which I thought was fantastic. It's one of the best representations of anxiety that I think I've seen in books, in graphic novels in general. As I said earlier, the Avatar, the last Airbender series, was going to make another appearance. One of my very close friends very kindly gifted me the graphic novels that happen after the TV show, which I'm so excited to read. I will put them here. Feel free to pause the screen if you want to read the titles. If you have been on the channel here with me for any period of time, particularly last year and the year before, this will not be surprising to you. We have books 18 to 31 in the Witch graphic novel series. I love Witch. I always have. It's my like childhood, it was my hyperfixation, my special interest growing up, in fact. Please tell me I'm not alone, because no one else that I know knows about Witch. Does anyone else know about it? I don't know. I spent an awful long time and an awful lot of money trying to track down the entire graphic novel series of this, and I'm still missing 32. I'm just convinced it doesn't exist. It was so limited printing, the series was discontinued, and I'm actually quite excited to get to reading the rest of them. It's just, again, last year was the year for Robin Hobb. I also have the first 3 manga for Freerun. I watched the anime for Freerun. I bought the first 3 immediately after I finished watching season 1 in hopes that I can like prepare for season 2, which is coming out so soon. Like, it's coming out this year. I'm very excited. If you haven't watched Freerun, it's a fantastic entry-level anime if you're just into like, you know, D&D-esque, cozy, fantastical but incredibly character-driven stories. I recommend it even for people who don't watch anime, to be honest. I love Freerun so much. And the last in the graphic novel category, we have Garlic and the Witch, which is the sequel to Garlic and the Vampire, which I loved when I read. The graphic novels are all bangers. I'm so excited for every single graphic novel that I own. There's no question about whether or not I'm going to read them. I will read them. Let's do romantasy. I feel like we're up to romantasy. We have Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is very popular. I'm just mad I didn't get the other covers when they were out because they are far superior to this one. Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I will read anything that Ali Hazelwood writes, inject it straight into my veins. We have One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I've heard really great things about the magic system in this series. Another one, actually, I need your help for this one. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna read it. I have These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I actually picked this one up when it was, I'm gonna take these down because they're like kind of invasive. Actually, when it had like its peak moment, and I think that was around about the retelling time on TikTok. It was like when ACOTAR started getting big again on BookTok and all the retellings had their moment. This was one of them, and I just don't know if I'm still wanting to read it. So this is one that I need your help. Please tell me if this one is actually worth keeping on the list. If not, I'm gonna donate it to someone. We have Serpent and Dove by Shelby Moran. One of my colleagues actually gifted this one to me, so I will be reading this one at some point in the near future, whenever the wheel tells us. The last romantasy. This is a controversial, possibly very unpopular opinion, is that I actually probably am never gonna read this one, and I will probably rehome this book. And it is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Please don't come at me. Yeah, I've just heard some not great things about it. It is one of those polarizing ones, like you either love it or you hate it. And I've just heard really only one person tell me that they really like it, and everyone else that's tried has not liked it. Feel free to drop your opinions. I swing probably like 70-30 on not wanting to read it, so that's romantasy. We've been here for a while. We have 2 more categories to go, people. We are almost there. What's on top here? Romance. Let's do romance because it is on top. As previously stated, Ali Hazelwood, I will buy anything that she writes. I am aware that it's the same story that's been repackaged with a different skin, but I'm okay with that and I will read it. Deep end. I have Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma, Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, which I've not actually read an Abby Jimenez yet, and I have heard nothing but great reviews. The romances are always really good palette cleansers for the big fantasy series. We have Flawless by Elsie Silva, because I have read a lot of the hockey smuts and I've been told to sidebar into cowboy romances. And the book in the romance category that I am by far the most excited for various hyperfixation reasons is Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. 2025 was also the year for D&D for me. The hyperfixation of D&D just went hard, so this is very on brand for that. That is romance. And our last category, again, a banging category that I'm excited for every single one of these, we have cozy fantasy. Again, if you've been on this channel for any length of time, cozy fantasy is a staple here in the meekela Reads household. Probably what I'm least excited for is Emily Wilde's map of the Netherlands? Other lands. I read the first Emily Wilde, I did a video about it. I liked it enough by the end to pick up number 2, but if I don't like number 2, I definitely will not be reading number 3. It was just a bit challenging for my brain at the time. We have Ava Evergreen Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe, The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. I read the first one, which was The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of the first books that I've read in a while that I was like, oh, I'm actually excited to sit down and read this book. I was in such a slump before that. I have A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This is by Sangu Mandana. It is the sequel to The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which I loved. It was one of my favorite books of the year that I read it, and I've been anticipating this one ever since then, so I immediately picked it up when I saw it. Again, in the spirit of D&D, we have Tusk Love. This is by Thea Guanzon, and if you don't know, which you may or may not, I don't know what part of the internet you sit on, but Tusk Love is essentially the fictional book that someone has written based on a book that Critical Role's campaign 2 included as a plot point in their second campaign. Does that make sense? It was like a fake book in campaign 2 that someone has then actually written. It's a romance and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Again, worlds colliding. How do we bring the joy? We merge the special interests together. And the last book that I have sitting in front of me on my physical TBR, again, I don't know how many books this is. It is the most recent purchase that I have made, also the book that I'm most excited to read, and I very desperately want to break the wheel rules to read. It is Brigands and Bread Knives by Travis Baldry. I'm so disappointed in myself that I did not know that this was coming out. That's how far out of the book universe that I've been. I didn't know that one of my favorite authors was releasing a book. But I have it. I'm very excited. This is a very large priority. Like, this could be one of the ones that I use some of those like rule bendy things for the challenge. And that's it. That is all 100 plus books on my physical TBR. I will leave the actual number. I'll count them after when I have more brain cells to rub together. This is how many books there are here. Like I said, please help me figure out if some of these books are actually worth reading or if I should just take them off the TBR. Life is too short to be reading books that we don't want to read, so I'm gonna need your help. Yeah. We will see how many of these we can get through in the year of 2026. So yeah, thanks for sticking around if you've made it this far in the video. My hopes is that we can be, I say this every time I make a video, but my hopes is that we can be more consistent this year. We'll just see what the year brings. But yeah, that is all of the books on my TBR. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're having a fantastic day or night or whatever time it is where you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. You watch, I'll leave all of these 100 plus books sitting on the floor for the next several months, because I can guarantee you they've all been here since September of 2025 when I first tried to film this video.